My stepsister is an alien, probably. I always knew something was off about my stepmom, Marla. It wasn't just the way she looked at toasters like they were nuclear reactors, or how she once tried to take apart our microwave with a spoon while whispering such primitive sorcery. No, the real red flag was when she started hiding under my covers just to see how I'd react. Every single night, I'd walk into my room, pull back the blanket, and there she was, grinning like a lunatic. "How do you detect an intruder, young one?" she'd ask, eyes wide with fascination. "By checking under my covers for a grown woman," I'd shout. "Excellent precaution," she'd nod sagely, then slither out of bed and disappear into the hallway like nothing happened. Then there was her daughter, my new stepsister, Laura. She was suspiciously normal. Too normal. She didn't have social media, she didn't get pop culture references, and she never blinked at the right times. Just when I was about to write her off as socially awkward, I saw her drink an entire glass of orange juice without breaking eye contact, while never once swallowing. I had questions, so I went to the one man who might have answers: my dad. "Dad, how did you meet Marla?" I asked one evening. He put down his newspaper, yes, a real newspaper, like an ancient relic, and sighed. "Well, son, it was at a convention." "A sci-fi convention," I guessed. "No, a tractor convention." I blinked. "You at a tractor convention?" He nodded gravely. "I was lost, took a wrong turn on the freeway, ended up in Kansas, walked into a random convention center looking for directions, and there she was, giving a presentation about, alternative farming techniques, like crop circles." He shifted uncomfortably. "Sort of. She had these wild ideas about optimizing soil for intergalactic export, and kept mentioning how Earth's cows were shockingly inefficient protein generators. I thought she was joking, so I laughed. She stared at me for a long time. Then she said, 'You shall be my mate.' And that was that." My jaw hung open. "You just went along with that?" He shrugged. "She was very persuasive." I stared at him. My father was a 6'2" ex-Marine who once made a burglar cry just by glaring at him. And yet, this woman had apparently chosen him like a kid picking out a goldfish at a pet store. Did she mention where she was from?" I asked. Dad scratched his head. "Somewhere far away, didn't catch the name. It sounded like she sneezed halfway through saying it. But you know how it is with foreigners." "Dad, she might not be foreign, she might be extraterrestrial." He chuckled. "Son, if she were an alien, don't you think I'd have noticed by now?" At that exact moment, Marla walked into the room, holding the TV remote like it was a holy artifact. "Query, what ritual is required to summon the Netflix?" she asked. I turned slowly back to my dad. "You're telling me," I whispered, "that doesn't raise any red flags?" He smiled. "Son, women are just mysterious like that." I had to get proof. So that night, I did what any sane, logical person would do. I broke into my stepsister's room. I say broke in, but really I just walked in because she didn't lock doors. Suspicious. Her desk was weirdly clean with only a single notebook on it labeled Human Study Log. My stomach dropped. I opened it and read, "Day 34, subject Greg remains oblivious. Further analysis required." I gulped. "Day 35, subject Greg consumes excessive carbohydrates. Possible energy storage mechanism. Must dissect to confirm." I dropped the notebook. Right then the closet door creaked open and Laura stepped out. "Greg," she said, her voice eerily calm. "Why are you in my room?" I gestured vaguely to the notebook. "You wanna dissect me?" She tilted her head. "Oh, that." She picked up the notebook, flipped through it, then sighed. "That was a joke." I squinted. "Was it?" She hesitated. "Mostly." I backed toward the door. "Okay, cool. Well, I'll just..." She stepped forward. Greg, listen, I know you suspect things, but you don't have proof. I swallowed hard. Yet. She smirked. Yet. Then she blinked sideways. I screamed. Marla's voice called from the hallway. Excellent lung capacity, Greg. A fine distress call. So yeah, I was 90% sure my stepmom and stepsister were aliens. And the worst part, I couldn't even tell anyone. I mean, what was I going to say? Help! My stepfamily is from space. Best case scenario, people would think I had an overactive imagination. Worst case scenario, I'd end up in a nice, padded room with no sharp objects. For now, I had to play it cool. Keep my head down. Act normal. At least until I figured out whether they were planning to abduct me or just make me part of their weird intergalactic family.